two things. They're looking to us for expertise. Hopefully we know more about the product than they do, which is often but not always the case anymore. And they're looking for unbiased guidance, advice, and opinions. And that varies from person to person and from conversation to conversation. I'm a Nikon shooter, and I've always been a Nikon shooter, and I freely admit to a Nikon bias. On the other hand, a gentleman just walked up to me 5 minutes ago in this room with a brand new Sony camera that is just delectable. It's small, it's lightweight, it's tiny, it's pocketable. It does everything my Nikon does at a third the price and a quarter of the weight. So the next time a customer says to me, what should I look at? I have to include that if that's the kind of product that the customer's conversation with me B&H, not me, Henry Posner, has led us to. Because in addition to talking to that customer who has done all this incredible research and knows everything there is to know, we also get the customer who calls up and says, I want to buy a camera. And that's the extent of it. Why do you want to buy a camera? What are you using now? Where do you want to go? Well, my kid just made the Little League. He's playing right field. Is he going to be in the same zip code you're in when it's time to take the pictures? And you end up having these conversations where hopefully, if you ask the right questions and if you listen well enough, the customer tells you what the customer wants, even though the customer has no idea that the customer knows what the customer wants. And what the customer wants may not be defined in the customer's mind by a brand or a product or a model number. The customer knows what the customer wants, and it's our job to eventually say to the customer, well, this is pretty much what we think you want based on our conversation, and you could also look at this one over here and this one over there. And then the customer might say, if I take $50 off the table, what do I sacrifice? If I put $50 more in the table, what do I gain? And the customer might say, well, what about this thing that my next door neighbor bought 2 weeks ago? So you never know where the conversation's going to go.
Glasses, by the very nature of new technology, have become a hot property. I'm hoping you can explain a little bit about how some of the technology, the virtual try-on and such, is really kind of breathing new life into the category and offering a new channel for you.
Yeah, when we launched in 2011, we looked at the marketplace, and we were playing in a place where 98% of transactions happen in physical stores. So we looked at those customers that were placing orders in stores. We looked at customers that were placing orders online to try and understand the pain points that they had. So in stores, people were trying on their frames. They didn't appreciate the selection in some cases, and there was a segment of customers that really wanted to self-express who they were through their eyewear, and they couldn't see themselves once they took their glasses off to try on the new pair. And online, there was nothing to help them understand what they would look like once they tried the glasses on. So we understood from that consumer survey and research that we needed to have a photorealistic 3D try-on technology available. So we invested significantly in that, and after a couple of years, we launched our 3D virtual try-on Glasses.com app, and that has been massive for our company. 2 million downloads thus far, 10,000 downloads a week right now. And so driving engagement with our customers, and for them, it was the ability to have a wide range really quickly and be able to see themselves as they would trying it on. We didn't release the technology until until we had our consumer take a picture with the frame on, and we would do it in our technology, and they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two. So we had a high standard, but those customers told us what they wanted, and the technology drove those decisions for us, and that was the huge investment paid off, obviously. We're actually launching the technology on the web towards the end of summer.
Looking at the millennials, which are a larger group right now than boomers, they're looking for that. They're looking for personalization. They're looking for engagement. They're looking to have a say. And what we're doing is doing that in the retail environment. In the online environment, we started to see that a long time ago, a couple of years now. And in the retail environment, we started to do that in the coffee shop. And we look at it as just the beginning of personalization at the point of sale. What we do is we allow the coffee shop to take a regular cup of coffee and they turn it into a platform where they can personalize and customize a message for the consumer to create engagement to create a fun environment around the product and something that leads then to loyalty.
It's really about value exchange. And I think that in the retail environment, a lot of customers have traditionally, a lot of our clients, a lot of retailers have traditionally, really looked to promotions as the sort of primary driver of value exchange. And obviously, any brand that's promoting already doesn't want to promote any more than they already, are, and any brand that's not promoting yet really doesn't want to sort of, start down that, dark path. So we work with a lot of brands to figure out what other kinds of value can you exchange in return for participation in the brand, whether that's providing social activity or just providing your email address for future contact. We work with brands to sort of develop those strategies. And I think beacons are an interesting one just because there's so much you can do because they are specifically location-based technologies. But I think there's a little bit of I think there's a misunderstanding in the world about where we are with beacons. And I think what I believe is that really beacons sort of made a big name about 18 months ago or 24 months ago with this promise of the ultimate personalized experience, but I don't think people have seen the ultimate personalized experience in stores manifest from beacons yet. And I would say that I think that's coming. It is coming.
And what we're talking about is 46% of the population has a credit score below 700. 34% of the population between ages 18 and 49 doesn't have a credit card. A lot of these folks coming through the credit crisis have credit cards without the limits that they once had, and you have very low savings rates. So when you talk about consumer durables, which is what at least this side of the panel is kind of thinking about, so you're talking about things that cost between $300 and $4,500. There's a very significant portion of the population that needs to acquire those goods with a monthly payment. Sometimes that works with a credit card. A lot of times it doesn't because your credit card capacity might not be $2,000, or you really want to protect that $2,000 if you have very low savings rates. You want to really protect that $2,000 for an emergency. So you're looking for an incremental piece of credit. And you're looking for an incremental piece of credit in real time. So at the point of sale, to give you a sense, the non-prime consumer, which I'll define as below 700, the non-prime consumer represents between 10 and call it 25% of a merchant's revenue stream. Online, that number is close to 0, which is crazy. If you think about an online shopping cart, online shopping is built for prime consumers. All of your payment options are Visa, MasterCard, some version of a debit card, or similar to PayPal, which is a pipeline into your checking account, or in some cases PayPal Credit. And online, it's more difficult to underwrite the consumer. And so you're basically looking at a FICO threshold between 680 and 700. So that's basically the non-prime consumer. So between 30 and 45% of the population can't get a payment option online. And so they can't shop for the $1,500 camera. And these folks are some of the folks that have lower household incomes in general and have to have the monthly payment.